Cattle prices have also provided good profit environments for farmers and ranchers. UNL Extension livestock economist Kate Brooks joined us Thursday morning to discuss returns in the feeding and cow-calf sectors, as well as the latest in the cash cattle markets.
This week and last week, we've probably maybe seen what we'd call a plateau. We saw a lot of strength in the fed cattle prices, maybe starting to see a slight decline now. We're talking about all-time high, so it's hard to say, we're seeing this decline in the prices, but, maybe seeing some type of plateau. As we move that into looking at the futures, into the futures market, we see a gap again, kind of in after April, the April market compared to the June market. Some of that having to do with maybe we're seeing some early placements of cattle that'll come to the market later on, and then maybe see some seasonal softening in the fed cattle market that's typical, but as well seeing some of this pull forward earlier this year.
What do you think the feeder market is looking like in terms of margins? I mean, are people making good money, and have they been making good money?
We started to see the end of 2013 and then here into 14 starting to see some increases in margins, helping that margin out, maybe seeing some profits there. As we continue to see increases in those fed cattle prices, it's really helped them. But, they've seen declines in input prices, but they're also paying higher prices for those feeder calves as we go forward.
Yeah. What about packers? Are they making money?
They probably were starting to see some hurt there when they were having to pay higher fed cattle prices. The box beef prices came down pretty quickly, but they've started to rise again here recently, and so with some maybe softening in the fed cattle prices as well as some increases in the box beef, they might start to see a little bit of improvement in those margins.
It seems like retail beef prices, at least locally here, may seem to be increasing a little bit. Obviously, they've been increasing for a little while, but how severe is that increase?
Yeah, we saw that huge jump up in box beef prices the beginning of this year, the end of January. As we moved through February, they declined, but we're back up in those box beef prices again. We haven't seen all of that hit the market, so we'll probably continue to see some increases there in the retail side.
If you're a cow-calf producer and you have pasture locked up and you own the heifer and it's bred already, how bright could this year be?
There is a lot of profitability potential here throughout the U.S. with the cow-calf industry. We're seeing those record high feeder calf prices, lower input prices, so there is a lot of potential for some profitability within the cow-calf industry.
We're into March now. Set the scene for what the export market has looked like for beef.
Right. So 2013, we had a strong year in exports. As we've entered 2014, I think the U.S. Meat Federation put out, we saw an increase of 13% over year-ago levels. Big ones, Japan, Hong Kong. The big issue now is we're supposed to be down in production as we move forward. So sustaining some of those high levels is going to be, difficult as we move through 2014.
It would not be a shock to maybe be below last year levels?
Not necessarily below, but whether we can keep being as high above last year levels is what we were the first of this year.
Towards the end of next week, on Friday, we'll get the next cattle on feed report. Do you have any expectations going into that release?
February last year was one of the lowest numbers we'd seen in a long time. As we see this release, it's not going to be a surprise if placements are up this year. Just following January's trend, we see a lot of pull forward coming in. So we may see a little bit higher February cattle on feed numbers than maybe we saw the previous year. But some of that's that pull forward we're seeing in this market right now.
Again, the USDA is slated to release this month's cattle on feed report Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock. In last month's numbers, the agency showed Nebraska had more cattle on feed than any state in the nation.